What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another War of Dots video. Today I got something a little different for you. This is an extra special video. GirthMcSlammer, the player who just won the tournament for War of Dots that I was a part of and got demolished in the first round, was gracious enough to send me quite a few replays that I'm able to throw in here, and we got 7 different replays for you today. So we're going to kind of go through them. We're going to sort of review what mistakes they made, and obviously I'm not trying to make any, if you played in any of these games, congrats on making it anywhere in the tournament, because I didn't get anywhere near this tournament, so any of these players would absolutely crush me. But I'll try and commentate on what I think players could have done better, and also commentate on what is really good about the players that have made it all the way through, and then obviously on Mr. GirthMcSlammer, who got the number one spot in this tournament after winning it all the way through. So we'll go ahead and hop right in. Oh, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. So this first game is going to be a game against Icydot and GirthMcSlammer. So this is a game that took place earlier on in the tournament. Let me see if I can find it here. This was in the second round. So Girth swept 0-2 in the first round. I'll put a picture of the bracket up on the screen. And then played Icydot in the second round, who is a very well-known player, very good. So this is one of those games that was actually really close. So this is early on in the tournament, and let's get right into it. So first things first, I'm going to speed things up a little just because we got quite a few games to go through. So Icydot in blue and GirthMcSlammer, the Dev Slayer, in red. So we're gonna go ahead and let's see, players 8. I forgot. I always forget. Anyway, I'm very excited that I get to do this. So we're going to see kind of what the strategy is with each of these players and sort of kind of figure out if you guys can take anything away for your own game, if I can take away from my own game. Obviously, first thing, Girth gets a really good 2-on-1 there. That's going to immediately give him a casualty advantage. And he's going from this top line because he's got a heavy there, and originally Icydot didn't. So that was kind of the advantage there. Leaving all of our other lines kind of chilling out. We have some of our cities covered, but not all of them. It's important to note that they don't always all have to be covered. A lot of people get freaked out when they're not all covered. It's important, but, if you're moving troops like this, you'll be fine. So we're rotating from the bottom line, trying to keep morale-based rotation. Notice he leaves. Girth's okay leaving gaps in his line to rotate because it's better. He may be able to get a 2-on-1 out of it, but he's going to have another troop slam into it. For the most part, he does this quite often. It works quite well. So, just the same casual rotation. He actually takes a troop down off of this bottom line so that he can use it in rotation to the north line. And Icydot does respond and move forward, but I think Girth knows that that's not really a huge threat at the moment. It might be in a second, and he will reinforce it, but this is the main battle line up here in the north. So that's what he's focused on. Obviously, we're continuing to rotate on and off. We're getting 3 full health troops in. And I just wanted to point out, he's not rotating onto this rear city currently, which is interesting to me. There he goes. So, it's a long way, and it takes a while to get back, so you have to consider that. Sorry, excuse me. Anyway, see, he leaves these gaps in his line, and he's not too worried about it, which I think is really interesting, because when I rotate, I'll notice I try and really make sure there's no gaps. But if there's not a city, like here, there's this one, but it's not super close, this is how you get encirclements, see? Because he pushed forward in, and now Girth was able to push it back out. So that's a really interesting strategy to sort of keep in mind. And it's just the rotation here. So at this point, it's very close. Obviously, we're commentating on Girth because he ends up winning the tournament, but Icydot's doing a great job. He's got an 8,000 troop lead, rotating effectively. He did poke down to the south, which caused Girth to pull a couple more units in, which is going to be a problem for him because he's losing a troop to use to rotate up here. And as you can see, that top line is sort of crumbled off. Another thing to point out, Girth pulled 2 units from the middle here. I didn't catch that when that happened. And he always keeps his heavy unit in the plains no matter what. Something I have been well known to be very bad at. Feel free to leave your comments below how much I suck at leaving my heavies in the forests. So, but yeah, now the main line definitely shifts to the south. Girth's going to continue to rotate troops on, and Icydot is just, he's got a really nice, healthy line here. Girth does too, but it's just not formed. It's kind of messy, and that's interesting to me because this I would like, I would be confused by this. Like, I don't know. We do actually end up getting a heavy unit in the forest. And we do produce a unit there, so curious. I didn't count how many units he produced at the beginning. I'd be curious to count that. If you should go back and count that, let me know down below. But really interesting. So, yeah, Girth's actually just retreating on this upward front, which I think is a good idea just because he's got this battle down south, and he's actually doing a great job. Now, Icydot, I believe, made a heavy unit right here. And so that's why he has that troop advantage, because those heavy unit troop advantage. So it's somewhat a little misleading when your opponent has a troop advantage or you have a troop advantage if they're all heavies, because this heavy's in a is going to be fighting in a forested area if he comes forward. So got to keep that in mind. Girth's going to send a massive amount of reinforcements down to the south after sort of defending his city up there. Now, there's a lot of units really close to his city, so it's I'd be interested to find out how he defends that. And Icydot stops the assault in the south, so in comes Girth here with a massive assault down here. Lots of group orders, interesting for sure. And this is the city projection radius at work. Icydot's going to fix it real quick. I think he saw what Girth saw with that sort of area of encirclement opportunity. And Girth's just got these 4 units that he's moving whenever they're needed to be, which is really interesting. We got 2-on-1s here. 2-on-1s against him here. It's really back and forth. Continuing to pressure there. We've got a city here, 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 and here. So cities are definitely close to the line. Something to pay attention to. And the battle continues to the south. I mean, just notice how many moves he does at a time. Like, obviously, it's sped up. If I slow it back down to regular speed, he's just got like 5 orders going, and he's always doing something. So that's definitely a tip to pay attention to into your own games. Are you being quick with your movements, right? So now there's a 15,000 troop gap with Icydot in the lead here. Playing from blue. We've got some fresh morale troops going to the south. And then Icydot also continuing to pressure. This is a low health heavy. He realizes that, switches it out. Now we've got a 2-on-1 down there and a 2-on-1 up here, so that's good. Icydot's going to get a heavy unit in a plain or non-forested area, which is really good because we've got some low troops there. Icydot has a low one too, but he's able to switch that out for a fresh unit. Way less units up to the top, but Girth's specifically focusing on individual units that he knows he can double team. He's actually able to pin this unit against the wall. This city is left with just a heavy unit on it, which is crazy to me. No defenses, just a heavy unit. And Icydot is winning down in the south here as a lot of Girth's units are very low. He's going to try and retreat them, and now it's going to be the heavy Baron. Girth's full committing to this assault in the midline as the assault begins on the southern city. Send some reinforcements down to not allow a death of unit, but he's going to lose 2 units here. But Icydot's units are too far away from his line. That's mass casualties. He realizes it too late. He lost like 3 units there. And now Girth's in the lead. Encirclement's over here. Oh my gosh. Just like that. It happens immediately. So now Girth's sending an expedition in. He's using the mountains as cover to prevent encirclements, and he's going to try and push through here, get to the city. He's able to encircle an additional unit. Massive casualties. The assault up to the north city never materialized. The assault to the south city encircled itself. So here we are. Girth's pushing for that one city. He's got another unit encircled because he's able to push all those units out. But his line's close, so he saves it. Trying to encircle these 2 units here. Now, let me just mention that. So that was the thing. The lines were chaotic. So he's able to punch with a lot of units against, because Icydot was keeping his line straight. So when Girth slammed in a big push there, it was a lot more effective because of the way that the lines were structured for Icydot. Really interesting, really interesting. We're still assaulting the city down south, and we actually gained this city down south after the devastating destruction down there. So honestly, that's going to be the big mistake for Icydot here, is that loss down at this southern line, southern city. That's going to be the big mistake. And he realizes that. He loses this city. The production's too much for GirthMcSlammer. And that's it. So that gives you an idea of who GirthMcSlammer is, who he's playing as, you know, his skill level. That was earlier on in the tournament. Very skilled opponent, Icydot there. Great game. Girth did end up 2-0ing Icydot in that series. So let's move on to the next one. All right, guys, welcome back to the next clip. So this game is going to be from one of the last rounds of the tournament. This is GirthMcSlammer versus MrGyevad. I don't know how to say that, but this is for Girth to get into the finals here. We have 2 games, both of them, against this one. Girth does, I won't spoil it. So we'll do these 2 games real quick, and we'll see how they go. So I believe these ones go pretty quick. So first things first, let me slow it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities. How many units is he going to produce? I want to count. Also, we're rotating our heavies on and our lights off. That's always a good idea. You have those heavies in the back. There's no use sitting there. So we get 3 units on cities. Girth. So actually, excuse me. I was commentating from the wrong perspective. Girth is in blue, and MrGyevad's in red. So obviously, yeah. Same deal. 3 cities. He's covered all of his cities. Girth has also done the same thing. All of his cities are covered. And we're looking pretty good. So both players are swapping heavies on for lights. And we're going to see who produces first. I'm curious. Red here, MrGyevad gets a boat going. Decides that's not a great idea. And Girth's just doing some absolute insane moves. We're pulling a unit off. We'll produce our first unit. So that's GirthMcSlammer, unit number 1 produced. And then we're gonna see how this continues to go. So this is obviously where you fight on this map. There's no really other options. You know, honestly, MrGyevad here, I would recommend having this many units sitting up here that aren't doing anything, because as you can see down here, GirthMcSlammer is slamming the Girth. That didn't work. Anyway, he's winning in this front down here. So I think it would be, so he does actually realize that. Red pulls that unit down. Good rotation here by Red. I mean, obviously he's a very strong player, made it this far. Girth doing the same thing. We're rotating onto multiple cities. I didn't see if we produced an additional unit or not. I'm pretty sure Girth did, so that would be 2 units. There's the second unit. So, because with all of his cities covered, he's making 3. Yeah, so he's produced 2 units. We'll see if he produces a third. 2 is where I tend to stop, and I've been wondering if that's actually the best idea. It's just so satisfying to watch how swift everything moves with these speed up. So now Red's gotten a good spot here. He's got some good 2-on-1s going. Almost kills the unit, but not quite. And we produce a third unit. Interesting. Very, very interesting. We've got a good attack down there with the heavy. And I mean, I don't know how many. I believe that, let's see, we got 2 cities that covered. We're making units. So Red needs to produce another unit, I think. I think Girth is working with more total units. I mean, he has less troops, which actually tends to be a theme. So they both decide to pull their units down from up here, which is a good idea. Just there's a heavy unit guarding the bridge. That's pretty much about it. We won't see any naval assaults here because these players know that it doesn't work. And just try and keep an overall look on sort of the morale status of every troop here, and it just looks as though it looks pretty even at this point. Actually, maybe Girth has an advantage with the units he's bringing in. But if you look at this southern line here, yeah, when you can curl up a line like that, you can easily get those 2- and 3-on-1s on the edges of the line, which is what Red's doing here, which is good. Girth just has a bulge here in the middle, and he actually loses a unit because of it. Maybe that's why he produced the third unit, because he was willing to sacrifice a unit. I don't know. That's a heavy unit that's trapped. That could be bad. Red loses a heavy unit, so that's really bad for Red. Smart, bringing in a weak heavy unit, but it has full morale, so that's a really good idea. You want to make sure that you use those full morale troops first. Pushing back in the north. Now Blue has the advantage. Just the better rotation so far over time. The 2-on-1s adding up. Red gets a 3 or 4-on-1 here. Girth's going to come in and remedy that situation, but Red's going to maybe lose a unit here. Let's watch that. He saves it in time. Blue almost gets encircled there. He's able to save it. We got a lot going on here. We still got like a 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 on this heavy. And I think Red just produced a couple units. Blue just lost a unit. There it is. Girth lost a unit. Still good rotation coming. This is a crazy line that's happening here. We're going to lose this heavy unit if things stay the way they are. And we do. It's a big loss there. Still sending a lot of troops and we're rotating up from multiple cities at a time. And that's what we need to see. Blue accidentally gets a unit stuck in the back. Red notices it. That's a good catch. So that's a lost unit. Still an advantage to blue here. Slight, but it's still an advantage. About 10,000. That's a substantial advantage. Heavy unit with full morale and no health coming in. Same thing down here. Low health. We're going to have to bring that guy out. That's going to be bad. That heavy unit's dead. That was a morale full heavy unit that just was lost. So that's a big deal. We got a lot of light units coming down here from blue, from Girth. There's an opportunity to curl up the line. Doesn't take it because these units are a little weak. We're losing a unit there because he's stuck. We catch it in time. Still trying to salvage what we have. We've got a lot of weak units on these fronts now. Morale really is the only factor. Health is not important here. We're still rotating off cities. I will say this map's pretty balanced in the fact that both people have to use a bridge to get to their cities. Although, yeah, both sides have to use a bridge. So I would say this is one of the more fair maps as we continue to fight. Trying to maybe get a curl down here, but that's actually going to be a really bad mistake. Same spot, another unit gets encircled. It's a dead unit. Blue still has the advantage, even after losing that unit like that. And I'm wondering what it comes down to. Just better 2-on-1s, I think. And we got a 3-on-1 here. That's a big deal. He switches it to a 2. Full health, full morale heavy coming in. Sending some out. Got a full morale light unit coming in. That's a 3-on-1 right there. Big deal. Lots of weak units down here. This is an advantage red here. He gets the 2-on-1. Notice as soon as he got that 2-on-1, Girth rotated him out. Didn't let it stand. And that's contributing to his lower troop loss, his lower casualty count. We've got a heavy unit coming in. So now we get a big retreat from red here. Interesting idea. I mean, it can work, as we saw in the previous game with Girth. If you can get the line to be chaotic, you can get more encirclements in. There's one. Oh, but blue's able to save it. Another heavy unit coming up, but the troop gap is now at 20,000 troops or more. Protecting the city. Oh, there's a giant encirclement. There's 4 units gone, maybe 5. There's another one. That's going to be a big devastation, and that brings the troop gap down to only like 4,000 here as we equalize. More units coming in. Girth's even pulling the heavy down from the south. What is red going to do with this heavy here? We'll see. As we get a rotation down from the south to try and pinch onto this unit. That's going to be a 2-on-1 right there. We got a 2-on-1 right there. That's a good play by red. The gap's closing here, and the blue has to get out of there. Even though he still has the troop advantage, he's got to move back a little as he continues to send more units in. Got a 3-on-1 down there. Heavy unit's almost dead. Almost able to surround there. We had a unit with a lingering order that got stuck in the back. It's hard to not get that to happen when you're just sending so many orders at a time. Red's going to fall back again due to all of his units being almost dead. We've got a couple healthier units coming in, and we're all producing as much as we can. And the gap's just widening. And it's interesting because after that encirclement, it equalized, but I just think there wasn't as many solid rotations and 2-on-1s from red that have slowly increased to cause the devastation that they have. 2-on-1, 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 maybe 1-on-1-on-1. There's a 2-on-1 in there somewhere, and there's dead units everywhere. Now we're assaulting the city. We get a 2-on-1 there, a 3-on-1 or 2-on-1 there. Red's going to try and come down from the south in hopes of snagging something. But smart play by Girth to just chop it off. Just chop it off, and those units are toast. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that was a good attempt maybe to get a city and switch the tides, but in that position, red has to surrender, and that's game 1. So let's move on to game 2. All right, guys, welcome back. We got game 2 of this series against MrGyevad and GirthMcSlammer here for entry into the finals. We got Girth in blue once again, and first thing I'm going to do here is lower the speed and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 city map. We'll see how many units we produce in this one. Everybody's immediately getting units onto their cities. Red here gets more on first, so see how that pans out. I think generally speaking when I watch Girth play, as I've noticed, he doesn't always cover all of his cities. He leaves these back two open for his units that are going to be produced, while his opponents are filling their entire city. So they're going to gain funds faster, but Girth's going to have better rotation earlier on because he's kept 2 units on the front line. So that's just an interesting strategy tidbit that might be useful in some of your guys' games if you want to try it out. War begins down in the south. As you can tell, just more units here from blue, from Girth. Just a girthier line, and so that's going to result in more casualties for red. But red's obviously hoping for the snowball with the increased fund production. Although he's got 500 funds, I don't see... We need to be producing. So there we go. We get our first 2 units down. Girth's produced 2 units up to this point, I believe. And the assault's continuing here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is a massive encirclement. Oh, but he's able to save it. Not quite. Oh, it's so close. It's so close. We're going to get 1 more unit in. That's definitely going to chop it. There we go. So that's actually, I mean, that was definitely good for some casualties. Remember, it's sped up, so still does pin him. And that does result in what looks to be a dead heavy unit. These heavies are in the forest, so that's generally not great. And now we've got a 2-on-1 down there and 1-on-1 there. And now the battle rages on up to the north. As we continue to see who will make it into the finals. It's just an all-out war. I mean, as you can see, like, just the top of the lines get chopped down slowly as the battle rages. They move their troops down from the tops and bottoms so that they can use those troops as used for rotation. One thing I want to point out, as you get up in the ranks, the microing really increases, and it's not just the troop rotation. It's removing the attacking status from your unit. So if your unit has an arrow, it's an attacking unit. Now what you'll notice is a lot of these units, for example, this one does not have an attacking arrow. So he's in a defensive state. Now, what that does is it reduces morale loss. Now, it doesn't matter on this one because his morale's already gone. But you'll notice a lot of these better players that are kind of up here in this tournament range, they're always, when they're fighting in battles, especially if they know that their opponent is pushing into them as well, they're clicking on their unit, they're hitting that cancel button. For me, it's S. They're hitting that cancel button, and they're preventing it from being an attacking unit, which is saving their morale, which in turn creates more casualties because a higher morale troop does more damage. So interesting to keep that in mind. As you're watching this game, just take a look at the units and see who's got attack orders. This one does. This one does. As the game slowly progresses, I think that it's harder to sort of manage that while also managing 30 units at a time. And that's something to definitely try and pay attention to. Because if you... I mean, it's more important with these heavy morale ones. See if he tries to go with it for one of these. I mean, he's really focused on getting this encirclement, which he does not quite complete. He actually gets his own unit encircled. Oh, there's another opportunity there. Not quite. Not quite. That's the thing about going for encirclements, man. You're risking the counter-punch encirclement. That's 2 lost units for blue, but he's still got the advantage here as he's continuing to just rotate better. He's got 2 more in there, though. It's a big deal. And it's interesting that the casualty advantage just got so high for blue here. And I think it's just simply because of the fact that he's just getting those 2-on-1s. And at the start of the game, he had those additional 2 units. So his lines were just stronger. And we get an encirclement down on the bottom there. Lots of casualties dealt, even for that short time. Just remember, like, encirclements don't have to be permanent. Oof. Check that out. That's a 4-unit encirclement. Saves it, gains an encirclement, loses that encirclement, gains it back, gets encircled there. It's all over the place. We're looking to cut it off down there. He's moving these units around, and we do. That's 2 more units encircled. That's a big deal. And now, oh my goodness, it's catastrophic. It's over. There's going to be a free city there as that unit's dead, and that's going to do it. That is going to do it. 2 more units encircled, a 100,000 troop gap. And isn't it crazy how fast that happened? I mean, I was talking about putting units in defensive mode, and in that span of the time, the game just ended. And now blue's going to continue to send things up. I would expect a surrender from red any moment now as we get, yeah, there it is. All these units encircled. So, I mean, it really is a snowball. Once you get enough of a troop lead, you just have more options. You have more troops on the board to have more morale, to have more flexibility with your movement. And once you get that 20,000 troop lead, that 15,000 troop lead, even that 10,000 troop lead, if you use it right and you're able to keep doing 2-on-1s, it just really goes crazy from there. So let's hop into the next clip. All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the next clip. So this is the other end of entering into the finals, these semifinals here. And this is the game, the 3 games actually for this series against Eika and johnthebun here. So we've got Eika in blue and johnthebun in red. And this series is very close and tight. And this is for, as we just saw, playing against GirthMcSlammer in the finals here. So let's see how this one starts off. 2 great players obviously made it this far in the tournament. And this map's really interesting for sure. I like to note how this map goes. It's a little bit weaker down south for red than it is for blue at the start here. Obviously, red's moved some troops off just to get them on cities. But you'll note, like, it just is a little bit weaker. That's just part of how it is on this map. And generally speaking, when I play it, I will sometimes just retreat some units back down there. It's just not great. But as you'll notice here, red has actually moved units from his front lines either back to cities or back around to support. So you do have that massive 4 heavy wide sort of area there from blue that you have to get in. And we're moving to heavy down, red is, but we're going to have to deal with the forested terrain, which is going to make that take forever. So just a lot of fights here. We got a 2-on-1 going there. We got an encircle troop there, which is not great. 2-on-1 there, not great. A little bit of a weaker heavy down there. We're going for an encirclement, but it's just not panning out. There's just not enough. There's just not enough room and not enough units, I don't think. We're able to connect it back up so we don't lose our 2 units here. John is, but I mean, we'll see. Still got a 2-on-1 going there. Red's gonna flex around. And blue's just gonna continue pushing. 2-on-1 on this unit there. As it continues, this encirclement gets real legit, and that's a big pain as we're down 40,000 troops for red. And it's because of those encirclements. That's really the reason. Now we're down units because the heavy units lost. Oh, brother. So we're so close to connecting that up for red here. John knows it's close. Eika knows it's close. Comes in to close it. Apologies if you are either player, like probably Eika, if I'm saying that wrong. Sorry. Anyway, we're going to give up on the encirclement hopes, I would assume, at this point. I'm going to speed things up here. We still have a lot of troops up here for blue that aren't really being used. So there we go. We bring them down. Really trying to get that encirclement, and we do get it temporarily, which does end in the death of 1 unit, at least. Still a major 40,000 troop, almost 50,000 troop deficit for red here. Continuing to fight it out. Interesting for sure. I mean, there's one thing to think about on this map, as I noted out. The 4 heavies that spawn here for blue. They are on the plains, but they got to push into the forest, right? So it might be beneficial to pull your line back to here and force those heavies to pull into the forest where they're going to be weaker. Just an interesting thought. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units here to red's like 4 or 5 units, mostly weak. So that's definitely going to be very detrimental for red. 2-on-1s on almost every unit. 3-on-1 here. Red's got its own 2-on-1 going there. That's good. But we've continued to have units in the back getting slightly encircled, and even just the second of encirclement is casualties. So undue casualties. We do end up dropping 1 blue unit for a second, and then it's gone. Still casualties, as I just noted, but not what you want to see if you're red here. It's just not enough's happening. We're producing as many units as we can, but we get another unit encircled, not able to pay attention, and now we've got a double unit assault on our city, which is rough for sure. Blue shoring up his line. Red is continuing to have to fall back on other lines to prevent the assault. We've got 3 units up here that have done nothing all game. And in that position, we surrender here to blue as the troop gap was too big. So, interesting first game. You know, this map's, I feel like it's a little unbalanced in blue's favor would be my general assessment. And, you know, no excuse there. You know, it's not too bad, but just a thought. So I'll see you in the next clip. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the next game of Eika versus John in the semifinals. John in red and Eika in blue as for the previous game. So, first thing we're going to do, get units on our cities. Both sides are going to do this, and a little different than how Girth would play it. We're all going to get max units on there. So, the assault sort of begins in the north here. We did pull a unit from the south here, probably for the city there. This unit pulled off for some reason. He's full health. Not sure the thought process behind that one, but oh well. Produce our first unit there and there, so we're kind of hand in hand with unit production and fun production. No one is really too behind on this one. Pretty even keeled on this one, so that's an interesting difference versus the matches we just saw. It'll be interesting to see how it happens when one of these players has to go and play Girth. So we're getting a 2-on-1 on this unit, maybe even a 3-on-1 if that unit counts, but you will notice that they're coming in and attacking, and he did disable some attacking things. Not all of them. Obviously forgets to do it on some of these, but that was definitely a theme. Like there, he attacked there and turned it off. Trying to keep that defensive bonus. It's the problem, though. This unit's not attacking, so it's not really going to do much. So we continue just that more northern assault as we're just rotating onto our cities. Very clean for the first part of the game. It's always sort of relaxed. Just rotating onto cities, but once things get crazy, once a unit dies, once troops get low, there's not enough troops to rotate from, that's when things sort of start to spiral and the games get really chaotic. So we're just in sort of the entry phase of this one. Here we go. We begin the assault down to the south. We're turning off attacking units on most of these, hoping to get a response and prevent morale drain, but it does not get the response he's looking for. Still rotating quite well off of our cities. I mean, we've got most cities covered still, with full morale units coming in quite often. The full morale train is on the tracks. As I think we're seeing slightly better rotation from blue here, just because blue is just a little bit more quick with getting those low morale units out, maybe. From what I've sort of seen, that might be my observation. And I mean, I'm not seeing blue sort of do the defense maxing style of play. We've got a free 3-on-1 right there, not taking it. Red sees it first, pulls it out. Red's going to continue the assault down to the south, keeping his units defensive though. He's for the most part down there. He's keeping his units as defensive as they can be to prevent that morale drain. Still rotating to the north here is red, but blue is continuing to try and get those 2-on-1s. Rotating based on morale here. As you can see, a lot of units coming in and out, even when they're pretty healthy like this one. But we got a full morale one, so we got to move it out. We're moving it all the way down to this city. And blue actually is at a point where he's got to keep, or she, Eika's got to keep all the units on cities here, or else funds is lost because we're now even. So that's, in my opinion, a blunder there, because that loses you some flexibility. You've got to move units all the way back. See, when you're doing troop rotation, you want to be able to just move a unit from the front line to your city and your unit from the city on the same time. So you have a second where there's no unit on the city and your fund production lowers, but in exchange, you're able to get that fresh unit to the front line faster and have a gap for less. Now on the other end, we've got red here with 1,800 funds. So let's maybe spend some of those. Might be good. I mean, we're only making 1 a turn with all cities covered, so I guess maybe, or 2 a turn. And now it's, yeah, 2, so maybe you make 1 more. I don't know. But see, now we've got to rotate our troop all the way to the back and then do an additional order where we command him on and him off, or else we lose funds. And we all know once you get to that 0 fund mark, it's very devastating. You start losing mass casualties very quickly. So battle continuing here in the center. Still just simple rotation here. Blue trying to juggle, prevent that loss of funds. And red, same thing. Trying to rotate in and out. We got a heavy coming in on the grassland, so that's good. Doesn't look like a lot of heavies in forest here. Looks like we've been able to avoid that, so smart play. We're starting an attack down to the south there. Not sure if that's what I would have gone with, just because he just attacked into that heavy. I mean, it is good to sort of poke heavies first before, especially if you're planning on setting your own heavy in. But yeah, I think we've produced another unit here. Red has, so now we're only making one a turn with all cities covered. So that's that's actually a better position than blue's in. Oh, never mind. So we must have lost the unit, blue. And that's resulted in allowing us to gain funds with all cities covered. Just one. So now we're both in the same number of total troops. Looks like red did produce an additional heavy, so that could be advantageous down the line. As we see now, yes. Red's increase in funds. Very good, very good. We got these fresh units here. We're going to rotate both at the same time. We're going to punch in. We're going to keep things defensive. That's a good idea. We've got a heavy here, but that's a forested ground, so we're going to try and avoid that as best we can. This line's sort of gaining a gap, and the troop is very even here, very even. This could go really either way. Who can keep up the pressure the longest? Trying to keep units attacking. That had morale, so I wouldn't have necessarily gone with that rotation. He does just pull it out temporarily, maybe to just regroup. Blue's still struggling to keep units flowing just due to the fact that the fund loss would be devastating. We've got an additional heavies in the middle here, but we did have forested heavies, so not what you were looking for. Still assaults in the south. Blue looks like he has slightly more units, but they're weaker in the south. And looks like red has sort of the advantage in the middle and front lines, especially with the rear back lines sort of troops that he has waiting. I think red has a little more there. 17,000 more to be precise with it. And this excuse me, sorry. This south line has gotten a lot weaker, I would say. Although not on blue side, as blue is continuing to have fresh units down there. Still going hard. Blue actually ends up flipping the script. I think the rotation's been slightly better. I've seen more movement on the blue side over the past few minutes, which has resulted in probably fresher, more high morale units. And I think this heavy unit on these coastal plains here has been very beneficial. Now we've got a 3-on-1 going, or would have been a 3-on-1. There we go. There's the units engaged. We pull 2 units out and replace it with 1. That can be good if you have a really tight line. Pull 2 unhealthy units out, let them heal as you put 1 in. Try to not get 2-on-1 and keep that gap secure. Red is doing multiple order rotations instead of just a single back and on, so that's causing a little bit of delay in his orders on the front line, I think. Still, I mean, it's very tight. It's very tight. It's starting to crumble, though, as you can see. As the unit health has gotten lower and the healing has been limited, we've been forced to push ourselves back a little and have more units in the backline healing, which can be good, but remember, this heavy could be used to fight. He's got full morale. He's going to do a lot of damage. Okay, putting him on the city, that's interesting. It's going to take him a long time to come back. I would have gone with that heavy, but can't all be perfect. I mean, he's doing a lot of orders every moment, so it's really easy. As I know from my comment section, and as you guys know, it's really easy to watch a replay, look at what they're doing, and say, oh, well, you should have done this. You could have done this. When you're playing, look at how many units there are right now. It's hard. It's hard. So it looks like blue has now got a better line. In my opinion, it looks a little more strong. Red would have a really good opportunity if he could get down here to assault this southern city, which could be very beneficial. He's still just trying to prevent death here on this northern line, which makes sense. I mean, blue's got more units. He's got that heavy up there, full health heavy. Not engaged currently, but any moment now, that I think will spank you. And so there we go. Red sees it. He's going to come up from the south, go for that city. He's going to attack. The opportunity's a little not as good because this unit's much healthier now. Blue sees it and is able to come down. He had a lot of units in that back area ready to go. I mean, look at this. Check this out. I mean, we got 3 units there, all pretty much full. This top line's crumbling just a little bit here for red. So as you can see, we got the troop leads increasing for blue. As we get that heavy unit attacking. We did pull a heavy unit there, but he's in the forest, so it's actually a mismatch. This heavy's got the advantage. We're pulling units back off that have full morale. Not necessarily great, especially when we have units with no morale. Down here, we have gaps in our line. I mean, if we're rotating, that makes sense. We got a rotation coming in. Just Blue's able to keep up the pressure while that rotation takes a long time to come, especially when that troop would have done the same amount of damage as this troop. So, just a thought, food for thought. That heavy definitely melts that light unit. Full health heavies, full morale heavies tend to do that. Then we've got a mismatch here, 3 on 2. And, I mean, we've got some weak units in the line there. It looks like Red sees that. He's coming in with the punch. Good damage there, and we actually kill a unit there, so that's a good play from Red. And now Red has the upper hand there. He's been able to take it back. I think that Southern Assault did a lot of damage with those sort of 2-on-1s that were able to go temporarily. We're pulling a lot of units back off. Now here, Blue needs to keep his foot on the gas. I think that's what sort of got the troop advantage back to even here. And now actually with the Blue deficit. Blue had abilities to go in. Eika had abilities to go in and strike 2-on-1s up here especially. Didn't take it when it was there, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. We got these lower health units. We're pulling that one back. He's got somewhere else, so he can definitely be used later if we need him. But look at these fully fresh units coming in. Both sides got them, but who's going to use them right? If we look at the overall health of the line, Blue's got a healthier, fuller line to the north than Red does, and Red's got a healthier, fuller line to the south once all these come in. So just 2 separate lines, looking different for each side. One side wants to push on one line, one side wants to push on the other. You know, if it's me and I'm Blue, I'm going for a full all-out 60,000 troop naval invasion, but, you know, can't all be a pro like me. Exited in the first round, 0-2. Anyway, also of note, John the Bun here actually played the person who beat me, Lurfip, sweeped him in round 3, so interesting of note here. John the Bun is actually, should be rooting for him because he took down my Conqueror. We've got a really empty middle line there, which is definitely a thing to exploit for Blue. It looks like he's able to keep that heavy enough on the grass to not let it count as a forested unit. And now the assault has really changed to the bottom. For Red at least. Blue is supporting it a lot more. We've got more units up here for Blue, so that's definitely an area of concern. Red's really going to try and push for this city, I think. And, I mean, check this out. Red's got closer to the city, to any city than Blue does. So if Red can continue and win down here, that's a big deal. Now what he's doing is he's keeping this assault going at the expense of the efficiency of this northern assault. And that's going to allow Blue to get in here and get way closer to this city. So now we're both attacking cities, but check this out. This is a 3-on-1 on this city. We've pulled a unit out. We've encircled a unit. And now our units are getting encircled down to the south. So as the chaos began, things got crazy. Very close to taking that city was Blue. Red intercepts it just in time. Tries to go for the encirclement, but Blue is able to reinforce his line just enough. Red has units not moving. We're able to get an encirclement down there. So now it's really just a push for these 2 cities as we both fight for each city. A massive encirclement for Red here as Blue gets completely surrounded. Has to pull away from the city, but Blue continues the assault on the southern city. Or Red does, excuse me. Blue's pulling his units all the way down there, hoping to defend it at the last moment. Full health unit all the way in. Does it defend it? No. Red takes it. John the Bun with the first city capture of the game. Does that seal the deal? Does that seal the deal? 100,000 troop advantage. Red begins to produce like a madman, sending all of his units up into the south, going for the next city capture as he has basically won at this point. We're making our line straighter. We're about ready to take 2 more cities if we can bust through this line. So now we're going a full-on madman mode a little more. We've got heavy units in the forests. We've got dead units in the front line. It's just a matter of time before Blue has to concede, and there it is. Blue concedes the match, noticing the massive discrepancy in economy and units. So there we go. We're currently 1-1. Eika versus John the Bun. Let's get into the 3rd and final match in the semifinal. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the final match of Eika versus John the Bum here in the semifinals of the War of Dots tournament hosted by GirthMcSlammer. So this one has me peeved a little bit. This map is not fair. I think this map should have been banned. Why do I think this map should have been banned? Well, first of all, why don't we count the number of bridges on each side? Okay. Red's got 2. How many does blue have? Oh, yeah. 0. So what does that mean? Red wants to rotate to his cities, right? Because we want to keep our units on cities to produce funds and let them heal up so we can strike the front line. What's going to be the problem with that when we have to deal with 2 bridges? It's a bottleneck. It's a pain. Blue, meanwhile, may be a little less compact in where his cities are. Actually, no. His cities are also closer, excluding this top one. So blue just has it way better. So this is Eika in blue, johnthebun in red. And it's just not an even map, I don't think. I mean, it's not as bad as that one mountain map that was actually banned for this tournament. But it is truly, it's just not a great map. It's just not a great map. I don't like it. I don't think it's fair. But both opponents agreed to play it, you know, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna see how it pans out, and we're gonna see how these bridges affect it, and also how the just small size of this island affects the sort of mental model of the opponent, of the player that's playing on it. So things are going fast. We got troops being produced now. Everybody's sort of got their first original troop production out of the way. And now it's just all out war on the only main front of the game. Blue continuing his rotation. Red trying to rotate, moving on and off near the bridges. Very tough, very tough. As we continue to try and see that rotation. Rotating there. We got heavies coming in, so that's good from Red here. Light unit coming in, both sides. We've got these units sort of stuck, not wanting to deal with the rotation, I don't think. Especially we got a heavy unit there. Let's see if that one moves. We're not rotating there. Very congested here in the middle. This is where a lot of troops will tend to get stuck when you've got stuff like this. Meanwhile, Blue's got this beautiful open cornfield in the back that he can just play in, you know, like a corn maze in October. Meanwhile, Red is trying to maneuver on a pontoon boat of an island, so definitely interesting. Red is putting up a fight here, but Blue is starting to gain the advantage as the rotation is just a bit easier, and as soon as Red pulls the unit out, Blue's been able to stuff the gap. And I mean, it's not as if it's majorly like better rotation from Blue here. I mean, there is certainly things to be said about that, but there also is more units here from Blue, I think. I don't think Red has produced as many units as Blue has. And I think that's resulted in the discrepancy that we see. We're still rotating, but as you see, like, we got this unit. Everybody would rotate this. Like, for example, this unit. Everybody would do that. Now we're doing it. It just takes that extra step. Now, the pathfinding across the bridge is generally automatic, but sometimes it's not, and you still have to be close to the bridge when you draw that line. And like I'm saying, that just adds that mental strain. You know, all credit to Eika. It's a great play. You know, not to discredit anything that happens in this match. But it's just tough. It's tough. And so we're trying to keep, Red's here trying to keep as many units off as we can. And we're actually beginning to see another plan develop here up to the north. What could that be? What could that be? We'll have to find out. We're trying to hold off on this southern line as long as we can. And now we begin our full-on crossing of the river, crossing of the Delaware into a revolutionary battle in the Revolutionary War that I can't name at this current time. So Blue sees this, and he's going to pull all of his backline fully healthy troops that, of course, he has, right, just hanging out in the back over to support. So that's really tough for Red because he cannot get any reinforcements up there. It takes too long to cross the river. But he's got it. He's got good positioning, and he's able to continue to siege the city. The problem is this line here is still all Blues. Much more units from Blue, much healthier units from Blue still down here. Red is losing units slowly, not keeping as many healthy units on the front line. We could be doing a better job of keeping our higher morale troops in on the map here. But Blue is still sending fresh units up to the top there. So that's really tough for Red. Red is continuing to assault up to the north here. And he does take the city there. Oh my gosh. I forgot that that happened. Red does take the city. So now that's an advantage for Red, but can he hold the southern line? Can he hold the southern line? This city's being assaulted as we speak. He can produce units now, but he didn't have a huge backlog of funds, so how long can he hold it? There's way more units up here for blue. What does that mean for the rest of this battle? As this unit is slowly crumbling, we get heavy unit coming in. Anything that we have, anybody, doesn't matter. A farm boy, 12-year-old farm boys are being pulled from their home to come fight on this final line. And we actually see a victory up to the north here as we've continued to push. But look at the troop count. Just look at it. We've got the city, but at what cost, right? So now Red has the economic advantage. How long can he hold it? This line is just gone for Red. One unit left to defend this measly city. We're trying to get as many reinforcements in as fast as we can to prevent that city from being captured. Hanging on to it for one last push there. Once that gets captured, the tables are turned. We win the battle up front as Red, so that's great. How long can we hold it? How long can we hold it? 4 units on one here. We capture that, and there goes the city. So that's 100% going to do it for John. Tries to go and see if he can snag one more city there, but he just doesn't have the units, doesn't have the amount of attack strength that he needs. We might be able to defend this city, but how long? I mean, realistically, how long? We're both making a bunch of money a turn. We can both produce a bunch of units a turn. And now blue knows that you're up here. So how do you do it? If red, that unit came in, sweep around, doesn't catch it. Probably a lot going on down to the south. But this unit's easily removable. It might be hard to get around these 3 units, but still. We're continuing our assault there. Good encirclement from Red there. Lots of light units doing the work, but we lose a unit, and that loses the encirclement. Good casualties there. We've made a comeback in troops here if we're Red, but I wouldn't be assaulting from the north here if I was, to be honest. I probably would just be trying to sweep around and see what's going on, maybe. And he is sort of doing that, but... And wow, in that position, Red surrenders the game to Icydot as blue, resulting in a semifinals loss and a movement on to the finals for Icydot. So, I mean, in all honesty, it was over. Blue had way more unit troops. He was just going to continue to push in. Red had a chance to maybe get another city snipe if he really played it well up there, but it wasn't to be. So that's the final game of that 3-match series between Icydot and John the Bum. Good series there. And let's move on to the final match of the day. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the final game of this tournament, played with GirthMcSlammer and Icydot on this mountainous map, with Icydot in the red and our friend Girth in the blue. Who will take home the final crown here? Let us find out. So, one thing of note, I only have one game from this final matchup here to show you. And that is because Girth had won the other game due to a very fast city snipe and a surrender, I believe. So, this is the game that determined who was going to win. Let's see how it plays out. This map, I think, is a very fairly balanced map. I like it. You know, good terrain, which makes things a little more interesting. So, we're going to see how this plays out. Icydot beginning the rotation on the cities. Same with GirthMcSlammer. Actually goes with the full city coverage this time, so a little different than he normally would. Continuing to rotate troops on to slam. Red goes for an assault up here on this 2-person line, which is interesting. Definitely a different play. We've thinned out our southern lines here, so we can bolster up our middle and northern lines. Red has been able to actually break through a gap here, sort of. And that's playing out right now as we continue the assault. Red's going to have to maybe pull back because Blue's got a lot of units rotating up here. Girth's doing a good job keeping those units up there. Red's trying to rotate down to the south, hoping to keep that morale going. We've got like a 3-on-1 there, so that's a really good play. Almost trapped a unit there, not quite. Poking at that heavy there. Seeing what we can do. Very tight line here, so lots of micro to be done as we attack and keep units in a defensive state as best we can. You can see it happening all the time. Heavy units all being kept in a defensive state to prevent that morale drain and gain extra casualties just a little bit. Super tiny effect. but it's real. Now here's mistakes. A lot of low morale units, but you got a lot of high ones in the back. We can't be having that, Eika. That's why Girth's going to win, because he's got, look at this, always keeping that high morale one on. Even creeping those units out anytime that we can. And I just think we're keeping too many low morale units on the front line here if we're red. The troop advantage is already 20,000 to blue. Just like that. And I mean, all it's been is just this meat grinder and a little bit up here. Just better morale management. He just has the best morale management of anyone I've ever seen. So, just truly great. He's even pulling more up there. We have units down here now for red that are being not used at all. Girth's using those units. As you can see, they're piling up. He's got actually too many units. He doesn't even know what to do with all of them. Still pulling units in from the back here for red, but he could be pulling more from the south here, or at least moving them up to see what's going on. No morale, 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 morale, no morale, no morale, no morale, morale, no morale, no morale, morale, morale. Just better. Higher health, higher health, higher health, higher health, higher health, more health. Morale, no morale. Morale, no morale. Health, health, health. Just all over the board, advantageous positions. We're actually seeing an assault from Girth up here in the north with rotationary troops coming in to bolster it up. Trying to manage two lines at once now, and now see we got two units not being used at all, and Girth's beginning to corner up that line to get those 2-on-1s. Lots of really low troops here for Eika. Heavy unit almost goes down. Light unit almost goes down. Light unit does go down. Light unit's going down. Almost saves it just in time. We're able to pull these units up down from the south, so we get that. But now there's a 20,000 troop disadvantage. Wow. It's just so slow but fast at the same time. Like obviously I have it sped up. But it's just so slow in the way that it works. Like the way that he does it, it just slowly whittles you down. And you just don't understand. I remember when I played him in my live stream, I actually have the replay of that posted on my channel. It's quite just frustrating if you're the other player. Like you feel like you're doing well. You feel like you're doing everything you need to do, but it just doesn't work. Lines get closer and closer to the city as blue begins to cave in. Red's putting up a good fight here. I mean, we're really keeping that unit out of the forested land. But just there's more units for blue here. There just is. Red could be producing units here, but he's not. And we're doing that slow rotation method. Still produces a unit. So it's just a waste. The assault in the north has sort of just been a sort of play assault. The real assault down here is what's really yielded all the fruit. We just see 2-on-1s all across the board. 2 3-on-1s, 3-on-1s. There's 2-on-1 there, but we're going to fix that real quick. I mean, check this out. You know, we just have so many units here. We're just rotating in. The gap is closing. When a line curls like this, then your troops in the corners can't get out, and the rotation becomes much harder, much more cumbersome. We lose a heavy unit there as red. And, I mean, blue is probing to see what's going on up to the north, trying not to get cut off. The assault begins with these heavy units. Notice we cancel the attack here to preserve that. Red produces a ton of units, so that's a good idea, finally. As we continue our assault, we got a 2-on-1 down there. It could be, and now it's a 3-on-1, 2-on-1, 1-on-1, 1-on-1, 3-on-1. Probably 2-on-1s across most of these. Just brutal. It's just very well managed, and I'm not sure how you manage it so well with this many units to keep track of in the heat of battle. I mean, Eika still got some good, solid rotation units coming in, but look at this. I mean, we lose a light unit there. That's devastating. We lose a light unit there. Devastating. We lose a light unit there. Devastating. Now we're down 3 light units in the span of 10 seconds. It's about to be 4. And what do you do in this situation? Hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. Blue is still just putting the pressure in as Girth continues to push for that city. That unit on the city there is very low down in the south. And we're even putting pressure in on the north there with Girth coming in hardcore, drawing resources away from that southern line, which is already in a spot where I think blue wants it to be. I don't think it needs to change much if you're blue. I think you like what you have, and you just kind of hang out with it. and let red focus on your northern line and therefore lose resources there. So that city is almost about to fall. There goes the unit on the city. We're able to shore it up and reinforce it, but look at that. We moved a unit from there, which caused a full rush there. So now this city's pinned. This city's almost pinned. The troop gap is ginormous, and just slowly but surely working our way and brutal as we belay siege to the city. The tournament is conceded. GirthMcSlammer crowned as the victor. And what a great tournament it was. Very good games there. Really interesting to see how these players move. Morale-based rotation really is the name of the game. Health does not matter. Morale matters. Unit production, important how you do it. Keeping too many units produced so you can't move off your cities, bad idea generally. Just getting stuck in rotations through bridges, devastating, detrimental. So many things that you can learn from just watching these games. So really appreciate everybody that's tuning in. Thanks once again to GirthMcSlammer for hosting the tournament. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.